What's up, everybody? This is Paul Tamayo, and I'm here with...
Ethan Gatch.
Yes, and today we're checking out Marvel's Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. We can finally stream it today, so we're checking it out today live here on Switch. So, yeah, if you have any questions and or comments, drop them in the chat. We got our eyes on chat, so we'll do our best to answer them. But, yeah, he's here. I put the classic Spidey suit on because, you know, I was kind of feeling like, why not, you know?
Classic. So do you like the new suit?
It's all right. I'm not in love with it, but you know which one I prefer. I almost like don't want to open that up yet because I know some people are like kind of. I don't want to spoil too much on this stream, but
yeah.
For one, we're on top of the Empire State, not too far from the Kotaku HQ. But check this out. I love to do this all the time. That's actually how I started my video. My little root
so
here.
good.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you reviewed the game for the site, correct?
I did.
I guess for the
little,
people out
little
there,
game. They're like, sure, go for it.
Yeah, like why not? What'd you think? I mean, just for the people who haven't read it yet. By the way, if you haven't read it yet, go read it.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're sleeping on that.
Word.
You know, it's one of those games where it's just you pick it up and it's just amazing to play. Like it kind of reminds me of the first time I got my hands on Mario 64, where you're just like, I can't believe Mario can do all this stuff, and like I've never done all this sort of 3D platforming before, and it's the kind of thing where you could picture picking it up in like an old Sears or a GameStop or whatever, and it doesn't matter where you are in the city, like you just within seconds you're swinging around and you're just having so much fun. And there's obviously a ton of other stuff in the game and all, but it's like it all comes back to just that feeling of swinging around buildings or, you know, in a fight. And I think, you know, the best part is like there's nothing that the Insomniac games did to really gate that or to restrict it. Like it's the best feeling thing in the game, and they never really stop you from being able to do it and use it to solve all of the, you know, challenges and obstacles and missions and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, chat, let us know how audio is, because I'm sometimes we've been having some tricky times with audio. But yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, the swinging in this game. I did a video about how the game does a really great job of making you think like Spider-Man. I know it's kind of like a little bit of a cliche to like makes you feel like superhero, but it really does. Like the kind of acrobatic playfulness that, you know, you come to associate with Spider-Man is it's just like it's so much fun, and they nail it. Like they nail like everything you can do in this world. Like, so this is me playing live, by the way. You can, if you run into a wall, you just like no problem, you run on it. Like I mean, everything. My favorite thing to do, by the way, I don't know. We can talk about our favorite moves here, but is this right here?
We're getting reports that a riot has broken out.
Right, like hopping off of stuff.
Man, it feels so good.
Yeah, you can perch on anything, and then immediately bound off it if you want, instead of staying there. I think that. So that's one of the things that, you know, the controls are obviously one of the biggest, you know, problems to solve when it comes to Spider-Man. I think they do a great job where you basically are just holding R2 and it'll start propelling you through the city. You know, it's how you run. It's also how you web sling, and they make Spider-Man do just enough with you only pressing a couple buttons. It's kind of, if you ever played Arkham and you see what that series did for you know, button mashing combat, by basically you've got square, circle, triangle, and you're doing dodges and counters and punches and stuff, and it takes all this chaos and makes it feel natural, and like you're still really involved in it, even though the game's doing a lot behind the scenes. They basically did the same thing with web slinging, where you feel like you're doing everything, but the game is doing a lot for you, and it's like it's finding that right balance. Because honestly, if it were sort of like if it were a pain to figure out, or like if it were, you know, there's just so many ways that they could have made it a lot more difficult. And I know, you know, someone asked in chat, how's it compare to the PS2 game, the one that the Treyarch did? And honestly, I think it's the kind of thing, once you play this, you like just won't ever think to. I mean, that game will always have a certain diehard fan base that will be like, hey, they just, you know, there was nothing like this. Yeah. But this game, it just blows that out of the water, in my opinion.
100%. It's definitely like thinking back on that. I played it on GameCube actually, but that game definitely holds like a very nostalgic, near and dear like spot in people's hearts, especially mine. But this game, like you said, man, it just nails the action, and it's easy enough to pick up and play. Like you mentioned, all you gotta do is really tap and hold R2 for the most part, but then it introduces some mechanics, like I mentioned, that sort of launch that you can do, that it is deep enough that you can get really tricky with it. And like, man, I've had some really amazing runs in terms of like just even getting to let's see if we can do like one of like the crime little missions you can do. Like So there are like
go find some crime.
Yeah, let's do it.
So much crime in this New York City. It's
It
really
really is. Like it's.
I don't know.
Yeah, this is definitely the Marvel take on New York City, the Spider-Man version of New York City. We promise it's not this crime-ridden, especially like not in like Midtown. Here we go. Oh, that's a pigeon.
No, there it goes.
So this is I think a good example of there's the side mission in the game that has a collectible, and you basically have to fly after it and try to capture it. And it's one of the ways that the game makes you use the web slinging, not just to get somewhere, not just have fun, but like there's quite a couple side missions and collectibles where if you don't get better at the web swinging and you don't get faster and you don't find how to sort of finesse your way through back alleys and over buildings and stuff, like you will have trouble with it. So I think it does a good job of making you learn some of the intricacies rather than just making it feel overpowered or like you can do anything.
Yeah. So Reb in the chat is asking how far am I in the game? So I've beaten the game. This is this is post game content basically, and I'm trying to avoid a couple like little things on the ground that we might not want to spoil, but just light spoiler warning. There might be some things that yeah, exactly like Heather's mentioning. I just left some crime there, but I kind of don't want to show some of that stuff off just yet. But I'm trying to look for some low level bad guys that I can hopefully help out with. There seem to be some right here.
Yeah, so someone in the chat asked if there's basically if there are non-crime side missions, acrobatics and platforming stuff, and there is. There's quite a number of side missions actually. I would say maybe the majority of collectibles are around stuff other than punching people.
Yeah.
Some of them are more interesting
right
than others, but I think all of them are great at getting you to explore the city and again use the web slinging. That's so much fun. So
yeah.
This is one of the few games where I've ever felt the need. I honestly kind of hate collectibles deep down inside.
Same.
This and Banjo-Kazooie 2 are the only two games, for whatever reason, where I felt compelled to actually go and get them all. And so I think they do a great job of making them feel interesting and fun, like you want to go do them, but not tedious.
Yeah, I'm the same exact way. Like I tend to not want to do any collectible stuff in these open world games. Like I'll do them, but I won't like 100% it. But this is the first time in a long time that I'm changing the time of day there. This is the first time in a long time that I want to do everything. And so here's an example of a little collectible like side mission you can do. And these are like these little Oscorp like science stations that you basically have to clean up the environment, and some of them are pretty cool. Like some of them you have to swing through these like clouds of exhaust or whatever and collect samples of stuff. This one in particular seems like I guess we're cleaning up trash. I guess we'll see. Horse duty. We're gonna try our best not to spoil stuff. But occasionally we might see some things in the world that I guess some people will consider spoilers. But we won't go into any story stuff, just so that y'all can experience that for yourself.
Yeah, and there are a ton of these side missions throughout the city, and they feed into a token system that you use to by completing them. Basically, you're collecting resources to then spend on upgrades for Spider-Man, for his suit and his powers and stuff.
Oh, look at that! I can't swing.
Yeah, so this is one of those things where it's a little. Basically, it's forcing you to not play the way you normally would.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's like some sort of toxin or something that you're trying to take you're trying to develop so it can eat away this plastic. And in order to do that, you have to put it in your web cartridges, so it makes it hard to swing through the city.
Good thing I got my quick thing here. Yeah, how long did the story take you basically, like?
If you mainline it, if you're just going hard on a weekend, you could probably do it, and you just skip all the side stuff and just ignore all of it. You could probably do it in, I'd say, a solid 15 hours.
Yeah, that's what I would say too.
Yeah, and if you're doing it, if you're not repeating the mission, like you're not dying a lot and stuff. Now, if you're sprinkling in, what I would say is not like a lot of side content, but just like, hey, I'm on the way to this main story mission, but there's a crime over here that's nearby I want to stop, or I see that there's maybe like a mob enemy boss that I want to take out. I'd say then you're much more into the 20-25 hour range. And obviously if you do everything, probably 30. Some people who take their time will be more in the 40 range.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Actually, I'm gonna 100% this game, but I've also just spent so much time not even collecting stuff, just jumping around and swinging because it's so much fun. Oh, I still can't swing, huh?
Right. So the city's full of collectibles, but also the city there's just a ton of little visual details that make it really interesting to explore. I mean, some are Easter eggs, but a lot of times other stuff is just like interesting graffiti on the walls, or like, a hot dog stand, or just like you'll be swinging through the city and it never feels like you're swinging through the same spot twice. I think they just do a great job for how big their New York is. I mean, they obviously cut some corners and it's not a one-to-one, but yeah. I think they do a great job of making Manhattan feel as big and vibrant and different as the real one.
Yeah, I mean, as a New York City resident myself, like, they definitely nail the feel of the neighborhoods. It's obviously, like you said, there are nowhere near as many alleyways, and just certain streets they've taken a couple like creative liberties with, but it definitely they nail the feel of the neighborhoods. Like, Chinatown feels like Chinatown. Midtown definitely feels like Midtown with like the concrete and glass, and like, you definitely have a pretty realistic representation of New York City. By the way, we're playing on a PS4 Pro. I know some people were talking about it in chat, but yeah. Oh wait, did I pass it? Oh God. Oh, do I have to do like some science stuff now?
Yeah. You might want to leave here.
Yeah, it might be some spoilerish.
Someone in the chat is asking about the DLC fiasco. I'm gonna need them to elaborate on what exactly they're talking about.
Let's abandon this one. we may stumble into some spoilery stuff, and we want to avoid that.
See if you can go find a car chase, because those are really. I think there's a lot of the sort of repetitive, like, oh, there's a crime happening here, there's a break-in happening, or whatever. They have these short cinematic moments that are kind of like quick time events, but I think they really fold into the combat and the platforming interestingly, and it makes it just fun to go in and stop something, and you feel like you're doing something incredible.
Yeah, definitely, and that's like a really pretty good example of what you'll be getting a taste of. In some of the story missions, like it's a bit of freestyle maneuvering, and then there's a bit of like quick time events that you have to press at the right time and mash or whatever. So let's look for some crime.
So Horse Duty's asking about the original suit and how much of basically there's a suit system in the game where you unlock new suits as you complete different challenges in the game or progress to certain parts. And you can wear any suit you want at any given time after like an hour or two into the game. Mm-hmm. And each suit comes with a new unique power that you unlock, but you can equip that to any suit you want after you unlock it. So really, it does give you the freedom. Like, if you like the original suit, if you like the new one, if you like some of the ones from other parts in the comics that aren't gone in, they don't fit into the lore of this game at all, but they're there and they're a lot of fun. So you have that complete freedom. And one of the cool little things that Insomniac didn't need to do, but
here we go.
All of those suits pop up in cutscenes and other stuff. So.
Yeah, that's the best part.
And even loading screens.
We can show off some of the suits, but we'll show it off a little later. So if you care about some of that stuff getting spoiled for you, I'd probably like. Oh God. I'd probably. Man, hard to talk and play at the same time. I know, it's kind of like a...
That's why the Twitch streamers make the big money.
That's right. That's why they make the big bucks. Thank God we're not on video. You can't see my face grimacing as I do that.
There's a number of times where I have not hit square enough times in order to actually stop the car that way.
Whoa. Oh yeah, and he just kind of stumbles. It's never like a really.
Yeah. Well, there's just like I think there's a impressively small window of time to actually nail that.
Love these bikes. You can like Yakuza style like. So here's a little bit of the combat. As you can see here, you can sort of dodge at the right time and get enemies to shoot each other, and then you get these finishing moves that are pretty slick. Yeah, and if you wanted to, you could just like totally. Oops.
Yeah, just wreak havoc.
Sorry, everybody. Hope nobody got hurt there. Yeah.
Just a little lazy sweep in the background.
Yeah, you know.
It's like,
just walk it off.
Tired of this crap, Spider-Man. I can go into time.
Oops, my bad. Yeah, what else can we do?
So Haymaker brought up the DLC fiasco in terms of them announcing 3 DLCs before the games are even out. Obviously, that's kind of become a standard thing, especially for big releases like this. In my review, I noted that there are a couple of winks and nods to other comic book characters that end up now, or like a Black Cat is going to be a DLC story mission, and that's stuff that I felt like would have been nice to, like, basically I don't think a lot of the side missions are that interesting, and I think that some of the ones for the DLC will be more interesting. So on the one hand, that's disappointing, but on the other hand, I at no point felt shortchanged by this game.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm in the box of I'm really excited that there is DLC and more stuff for me to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I never felt like it. I don't know. I was short. Like, I feel like there's so much to do in this game and so much to collect that I don't think that, you know, in any way that this is some sort of like, I don't know, unfinished product or something. Okay, so what else can we do without spoil? So I also have a save that I started over that's like just at the start of the game, so I could always boot that up too, and we can just sort of swing around and not worry about spoiling too much. I'm just like really kind of hesitant about what I could be showing off here, unless our viewers just don't care. But I'm not gonna give away any story stuff. I'm trying to see like what other collectibles I've missed. So there are definitely monuments and landmarks you can get. Let's see. So these are dudes I kind of want to avoid just because it's a little light spoiler stuff. But
so do you have a favorite part of the city so far?
Oh man, that's a good question. I actually really enjoy swinging through like Chinatown and stuff. Let's head over there actually. So and it also helps that I've been living here for close to 10 years now.
Right.
As an adult, and like it definitely feels cool to know the city well enough in real life and know exactly where to go and what to do and where to see. We could go to the Kotaku
I tried to do
offices.
that in the demo at E3, and I was very disappointed when they were not there.
It's not there, unfortunately, but it's the area is kind of there, but we're not going to do that.
Yeah, it's one. It took me forever to realize that they actually have the compass directions right above the minimap. For the longest time, I was like, I could not figure. I'd be like, all right, I need to go to Harlem, but which direction is that? And then when I was actually finally, after the game, crisscrossing the map, trying to get all the collectibles and everything, I was like, oh wait, now I can actually navigate.
Yeah.
Now I'm not being a stupid person. I'm using the map.
I can actually show the map a little bit here. It's pretty big. It's a nice representation of the neighborhoods in Manhattan, and like we mentioned earlier, there are definitely like some liberties that were taken, but there's still some parts I haven't unlocked yet. We could probably show that off too, just like
I would
the towers.
definitely either go to Central Park or somewhere and show them the tower scrambling system. I think that's
we could
one of the first things you'll do in the game, and it's kind of an interesting way that they help you like explore the map and see it unfold.
Is it only Manhattan, and is it all of Manhattan? It is all of Manhattan, yes.
Yeah, outer boroughs.
No love.
Get out.
As soon as you try to cross the bridge, it just like immediately is like, you're leaving. Press X to go back, and you just kind of whip right back into the direction of the city. The city is so I might stumble across some landmarks that'll be some Marvel Easter egg spoilers. So oh shit, oops. It's a couple things I just can't avoid, but if you don't want to see that stuff, I'm sorry. I can't. I don't know what to tell you. I literally can't avoid it. They're huge monuments. But yeah, so the police scrambling towers, they're basically like Assassin's Creed or Far Cry when you sort of unlock a tower and it shows you what's nearby, specifically like for crimes and stuff, but also for other collectibles. Like there are hidden backpacks in the game that you can collect and use for unlocking gadgets and suits and stuff.
Yeah, the backpacks are one of my favorite parts. They, they're hidden on top of buildings or under bridges and stuff, and when you collect them, you not only get a token that then you can use to spend on the upgrades, but they also come with like a memento from Peter Parker's past that it's a small way of using little details to tell the story of this particular Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's not an origin story. So
I'm just showing off the UN here. That's why I'm like being a weirdo, but that's the UN in real life. Sorry.
Everybody's favorite tourist spot in New York.
Everyone's favorite tourist spot.
Gotta get that New York slice and then head over to the UN.
Exactly. Get a Sbarro New York authentic slice. That's a joke. Please don't. Please don't quote me on that.
I know, like there's a ton of New Yorkers who are in the chat are gonna start flaming you. Sbarro, this kid don't know.
Sbarro. That was actually a reference to The Office as well.
Yeah, which kids are probably too young to even know these days.
Ask your parents about The Office. It's a really great show. Okay. I also like kind of enjoy just.
Get on one of these buildings. Show them the reflections.
Oh yeah.
Just love those reflections.
Look at that.
Somebody in my review was making fun of the fact that because I was like talking about how amazing the reflections look in the game, and they're like, "Oh, it doesn't look so amazing to me. You don't even see Spider-Man on there." Obviously, there's a slight sort of outline silhouette of Spider-Man, but really it's just about reflecting the larger city.
Yeah.
And it's honestly it's similar to the thing where you're in your apartment or your house and you put a mirror in there. And I'll pause for a second so you can explain this system.
Yeah, so you have to just sort of. I did that really quickly, but you have to rotate.
You did that really fast.
You have to rotate the analog sticks to match the wavelengths. Like each one is an individual sort of. It changes the height and the width of it, and once you match it up, you hold it in place, and then it unlocks the area around you. So now you can see if I hit R3, it'll show me where things are. So right there's a crime happening, or that's actually like that's a base. We can do one of those too. Those aren't spoilers.
Yeah, it's a Kingpin base, so you could do that one.
Kingpin base. And there's a crime happening down there. I guess we'll go help out. I also love diving like this. Good time.
The enemy of sight. Come on, you're scaring the pigeons.
Yeah, so these are the demons, one of the gangs that are fighting a turf war in New York.
I love that, like, witch time. I love when games let me.
Yeah. Do you have that? Do you have it equipped, or is it just the regular one? Because there is an upgrade that gives you additional slowdown for pulling off stuff.
Yeah. I have the one. Whoops. I have the one that if someone shoots at you at the right time and you dodge, you web them in the face.
Right. Yeah.
Which always feels good. All right, I'm taking these guys out. I'm sorry. Light spoilers.
So one of the things, so what I was saying about the reflections is, it's kind of like when you put a mirror up in your apartment or house, and it really expands a room, or just like it adds a lot of depth and richness to it that you would not have guessed there, unless I guess you were an interior decorator, and you're like, obviously then. But so I think it really does that for the city too, where it makes the city feel that much richer and bigger because there's all of these buildings reflecting light off of each other, and sort of it plays off the game's really great lighting effects in general. We're playing. There's 3 times of day. There's night, midday, and dusk. And at dusk, especially when the sun's going down, it just looks amazing.
Oh, we can show that. We can show that off too. Let's actually change the time of day real quick, and then we can do this base mission. Chat, let us know what you want to see: sunset or nighttime. I'm voting nighttime, but okay. So in order to do that, after you beat the game, you go to Oscorp Station, and you can do it there. Oh, man, look at this, man. This is so cool. Sorry, Ethan. I think you might be overruled here.
About what? Nighttime? Oh, yeah,
nighttime.
Fine. Go for it. Someone asked if Spidey can swim. He can. He can technically swim.
Yeah.
Not well.
It's terrible.
As soon as you hit water, he basically goes dead, and then he'll come up and start wading. And I don't think you can actually swim forward or backwards or whatnot. You can just jump out of the water and start web swinging again. So he hitting water won't, reset you to the shore or a building or something, but you can't like wade through it and actually like go underwater and stuff.
Haymaker with the nice Homecoming reference. Spider-Man, do a flip. Also, if you fast travel, maybe we'll show that off too.
Oh, definitely.
I love the little like vignettes that they show of in between like the loading screens.
Yeah. Like
he's like taking the train or whatever. It's pretty hilarious. So now this is New York at night. It's like a pretty humid night. Yeah, it's like kind of lightly raining. Where's that base? It was back across town. Yeah, right straight ahead.
Ground teams, need a status update from Lenox Hill.
Maybe we gotta fly through Times Square at some point.
Oh yeah, let's do it right now. We're pretty close. I mean, close enough, but let's do it now, and then we'll find another base. Oh, Hysteria asking for some spicy questions.
What are those?
The question?
Yeah.
If we can see
All units,
Avengers Tower.
unknown assailants are
Spoiler,
firing
yes
on
you can.
police from elevated position.
Sorry, I had to say it. It's one of the coolest
Yeah,
little
surprise!
Easter eggs.
Surprise! Marvel's Spider-Man for PS4 has the Avengers Tower in it.
Yeah, sorry for anyone who wanted that to discover that. Although, you know, to be fair though, when I first discovered it, I was like, "Oh, cool!" Like I kind of freaked out, but all right, so I gotta
You're
go.
like, where's Times Square?
Yeah, no, I'm like, where
I
the
lived
hell
in New
am
York
I
for
right
10
now?
years.
Yeah, get a Sbarro slice, authentic slice. There's also some like weird. There's some pretty cool stuff that definitely ties it into like the Spider-Man universe. You know, like there are things that you can. Okay, so this is Bryant Park. There are things you can sort of like call back to from the game, but they also actually exist in New York. So like the school that they went to, like the let me actually go for the scenic route. The school they went to, and like, you know, in the movies, like it exists because it's a real college here. It's Columbia University, and like you can actually go there and sort of, you know, revisit some of those memories. So this is New York. This is Times Square, a place where real New Yorkers never really go to because it's a nightmare. But if you're Spider-Man, you don't have to worry about the foot traffic. But it's really cool to see it from up here.
Ground teams, this is Control. Lost
You don't have to worry about the crowd outside of like Olive Garden. Yeah, here's Times Square. We get a Sbarro slice at the Avengers Tower, like an authentic New Yorker. All right, here we go.
Times Square, famous for when the end of Battlestar Galactica.
Spoilers, bro.
Decades.
Jeez. One thing I also love to do is like swing through signs and stuff.
Right.
You could do like.
Officers, be advised.
I guess you can't do it here, but
Prisoners are stealing
It probably doesn't actually have a texture you can hit onto.
yeah, you can do it through water towers. Like do the So let's go do this base. So yeah, I mean, now that we've already spoiled it, let's go check out. At least from the distance, you can check out the tower. There it is.
Yeah, don't. Is it the tallest building?
It might be actually, yeah. I think the antenna from the World Trade might inch it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's how they cheated. Oh God. No problem. There's also a cool thing I unlocked. So like if I fall and I hit X real quick, I can recover and play it off. Like,
Yeah.
meant to do that. What are you talking about?
Do you have the ground pound?
I don't think so actually.
I've only used it like a couple times because I always forget about it, but it's pretty cool.
Okay, so let's be sneaky snakes real quick.
Yuri, I found a Fisk construction site.
Yeah,
Lots
so
of
there
busy
is,
worker
you know, the
bees up to no
Batman
good.
stealth element
Try
where
to make some
when enemies
noise.
don't know you're around,
If
you can
someone
take them
calls
out in a single hit.
disturbance, I can send cars.
Yeah, like this guy.
Noisy?
The game's
I
telling me
can
he's
do
safe,
noise.
so I can sort of web him up here. Right. Those dudes I kind of want to maybe save for later. You always want to take out the stragglers first, right? Oh, this
Yeah.
guy made the mistake.
And one of the fun things is you can also, if you can web them really quickly, it'll also count. So like if there's two people talking to each other, if you can hit them both at the same time, usually the game will give you a pass.
Yeah, and there's a move that I unlocked where if I attack them, if I like go down to them and start fighting them, it'll affect whoever's near. So I can basically I can take out two people pretty easily.
Right.
Or let's see if that's actually.
And you can also
Yeah.
you can distract them by webbing other objects to get them to go check it out.
Or you can just do this.
Yeah.
Oops.
What was that noise?
What was that noise? Is it Spider-Man? That was one of the funnier moments from the Andrew
That guy's definitely
Garfield.
not dead. He's fine.
Oh yeah,
Perfectly
no,
fine.
he's good. Don't worry about it. Just put some ice on there. You'll be alright.
Eye beam to the face.
Yeah, there's some moments where like Spider-Man's like, it's that Batman Arkham Asylum
Yeah.
thing where like, man, that dude is like, he's pretty much dead, bro. All right, let's see what we can do here. We might just have to get into it. Might have to get into it.
Paul's always getting into it.
That's right. That's what they call me. I don't know what that means. Spider-Man.
I don't like this.
Woo! Okay, so
Yeah.
now it's gonna be waves.
Someone in the chat was saying the web slinging looks a little floaty. I gotta say, it's definitely the way they channel the momentum, like the way you feel like you're falling and speeding up and then slowing down on the upswing, both visually and then with the rumble and other stuff. I just think it does a great job of making you feel like you know, are going at like 100 miles an hour.
So these guys, you gotta like launch them in the air. Probably show off some gadgets here too.
For a guy in jail, Fisk's men are awfully
But
loyal.
definitely much lighter than, say, Batman, for instance.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man's very agile.
Also, if you like, oops, I destroyed that. You can show off some gadgets in a bit. My favorite one being the web bomb.
Web bomb, oh, by far the best.
So you do that, boom, they're all webbed up.
And one of the interesting thing is, so for instance, when you web people, it'll stun them for a bit. But if you get them near another object, either on the ground or up against a wall, and you keep webbing them, you'll actually web them onto the wall, and that counts as basically subduing them.
Yeah, exactly. You could also do that with the regular sort of.
I just checked.
Oh, you can grab that too in the right time and throw it right back at them.
Counterfeit. That's a dime.
Yeah, Hitmaker said they were gonna play the first game on hard, and I definitely, in the beginning that's really hard, but I think as you start to upgrade your gadgets, it's like around halfway through, it's good to sort of switch over to that to keep the challenge up.
Yeah, for sure.
And
After
to keep you using all of your different abilities and thinking, about how to do things best.
Yeah, for sure. I wish I had to take out the armed enemies.
Yeah, do you have the ability where you can pull their weapons away?
What? Yeah, I do. Oh man, I couldn't even escape that one.
So the flashbang effects I love.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Because it doesn't actually stumble you, it just completely messes up the camera, and so you feel completely disoriented. And it's just a really cool visual effect.
Whoa, that elevator just popped up out of nowhere. That was kind of cool.
Scout's honor.
That's my favorite thing, to dodge at the right time and just web them up like that.
Yeah.
Oh, feels so good.
That, and then when you perfectly dodge a gunshot, and you can automatically go into a takedown from like 20 feet away.
Oh yeah, dude. I can't swing.
The shield guys I've always had trouble with, because you have to go through their feet, right?
Yeah,
And
sometimes
then-
if they're against the wall, it's hard to do that. There you go.
Yeah, so there's different enemy types. If they've got a weapon, you'll have to knock them into the air. If they've got a shield, you got to go through their feet, dodge them, and start webbing them before you can start hitting them. And then there are also larger enemies that
Man.
you won't be able to knock down, and you'll just need to keep dodging and hitting until they're done.
Oh, you know what? I just realized I have the comic book.
Oh, the taunts?
The taunts.
super?
Yeah. So when you unlock the comic book suit, here's me just trying to get away and recoup real quick, which is also another favorite thing to do. When you unlock the comic book suit, your special ability is like quips, basically. So you just like, it says you insult their pride or something, which is not very useful right now. Oh
Nope.
God. Oh man, I tried to grab it.
Yeah, so this is an example, I think, of a good example of how, despite having all this like big arsenal, it is, especially in these waves as there get to be more enemies, it does get easy to sort of lose your rhythm.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, wait, what's the order I'm supposed to be taking these out in? Like, I should be going for the person with the gun first and then do this other thing. And it's like, if you're nailing everything in a smart order, the fights can look really easy. But if you lose that momentum or that rhythm for a second, it actually is really easy to sort of just get taken out.
Totally. As you just saw. Yeah, sometimes you feel like, man, that was perfectly choreographed, and other
Right, yeah.
times it's like, oof, man, I barely made it out of there alive.
Great. That's one more revenue stream Wilson Fisk
Yeah,
can use to pay his lawyers.
Fear in the chat is also saying that he remembers in the E3 trailer that every time you launch an enemy off the building, he webs them to the side. Like he has some sort of gadget or something that automatically webs them to the side of a building.
Right, yeah.
And I highlighted that in my video of like, it's a cool little touch because like the first time I launched somebody off of a rooftop, I was like, oh no, that dude is dead. But no, he actually winds up saving them.
And there's actually a couple challenges that require you to knock people off roofs. So like, for instance, that crime base you just did, a lot of those combat missions will have certain additional qualifiers that if you complete them, you'll get bonus tokens. And so that could mean, electrocuting a certain number of people or hitting a certain number of people off of roofs or doing a certain number of stealth takedowns. And so in addition to just completing the mission, it also kind of gives you secondary goals in order to, make it a little more challenging and also give you more points in exchange.
Oh, see, so we just passed a backpack. This is your favorite thing
Yeah.
to collect. So there are these little things hidden throughout the world, and if you collect them, they're usually pretty cool callbacks to,
camera.
like,
Got this at a
either
yard sale.
comics or the movies
Still
or
use
a
this film.
cartoon. Pretty cool stuff. Oop, there's a bunch of them I just collected, but I wanted to show off Central Park a little bit.
Yeah,
Cool.
and so every time you go, once they're in your inventory, every time you go back to them, you can hear what, there's like a couple lines that Spider-Man will have to say about them. So like that was, his first camera when you start working the bugle, and there's a bunch of other ones that sort of go deeper into, this particular Spider-Man's backstory that make it fun to collect them beyond just like, trying to knock out 100% completion.
Yeah, it's also you'll see here, like he thankfully, like the real Central Park, there are plenty of trees you can actually utilize to get across it and get across it.
Yeah, the game is very good at letting you cheat just enough so that you can get really close to the ground without actually hitting it.
Yeah, like let me try to see if I can do it. There's like some.
Yeah, you can get even deeper in that. It's like really. It's one of those things that like visually, it's almost like the camera's pulling away, and I don't know.
Yeah, it does like
it's a little trick that.
Yeah, exactly.
Is slightly unrealistic, but I think makes it a lot more fun to play.
It's definitely like an optical illusion. Like you zoom in here and then you zoom back out, and you kind of it masks how close you actually are to the ground and makes you just pick up that momentum, which is kind of fun. So I want to show off one more police tower. I think I'm missing one up in Harlem, yeah. So let's do that one.
Control, engage in active pursuit of a fugitive vehicle.
Oh, let's do that. No, I already did one of those. So there are combat challenges. I just flew over one right there. So if you want to sort of practice that.
Yeah, and some of those are really hard.
I know. Yeah.
Those actually have a
another character.
Yeah, and a 1, 2, 3 setting of like mediocre, good, like perfect. And I've struggled on a lot of them to get the perfect. Because they're kind of time dependent, so if you're not completing the task fast, you'll get docked points.
Spider-Man 2 fans will be happy to see that above ground train.
Yeah, I would say out of all the movies, I feel like this one has a lot in common with Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it pulls a lot of inspo from
and that
the
sort of
Raimi
feel
movies.
of the city.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna do this one a little slower this time. So left thumbstick, as you can see here, then right thumbstick. You want to match with the red one. There you go. They're pretty easy, but every once in a while I'll like stumble with one or two of them.
Yeah, it's similar to the system in Arkham, where Batman's trying to descramble something, and you're using both the thumbsticks, but in this one you're just trying to match the like amplitude and stuff of the waves. There's a couple of nice touches like that where there's these little mini puzzles. That being one of the smaller ones, but even with other stuff, because it's trying to play up that Peter Parker is like a scientist and can decode DNA and other stuff, and there's a few mini games around that stuff that I think is actually very interesting and gives it a fun little departure from the rest of the game.
I'm gonna show off Sunset because it's just like too pretty not to show.
Yeah, so Wild Knight Blazer is asking about the regular system, regular PS4, keeping up with the Pro. And I played and reviewed it on just the regular system and experienced, I don't think, any slowdown or nothing noticeable in terms of frame drops. The colors and stuff are definitely brighter, and the contrast is better a little on PS4 Pro. It all around just looks a little better, but no noticeable difference in terms of really how it plays. I was not at all disappointed.
Oh, one.
The regular one.
Oh, that's a nice little
Look at
touch.
these puddles. Can't believe this game has
What?
puddles.
Puddles?
Thought they took all the puddles out.
One of my favorite moves is this one that you unlock. Oh, what's going down over here? It's like when you hold X, he charges up a jump.
Yeah, you get to do the
Got my
huge
problems
bounding
with
thing.
Signal International. You probably feel ganged up on right now. Maybe try not
Just
bombing
pull
the
that turret off, no problem.
Sleep it off.
Oof. That sound too, that like Batman type sound of like anytime you knock out an enemy, is so fun. It's a good indicator of like, okay, you're done with this guy.
Right, yeah. The best is when you think you're done and it's like, oh, you don't hear it, and you're like, I just gotta keep punching.
And you're just like standing there like a dummy, just punching in the air. Spider-Man, do a backflip. Oh, feels so good. You're done. Who's left? Oh, you guys. Hold that for me.
More
finisher real
demons?
quick. Oh,
You know it's hard to give so many of you one-on-one attention, right?
what's your favorite finisher?
I think it's the super long, unnecessary one that is basically him doing like he's like pole vaulting, where he. I'm sure it's probably like some variation on a wrestling move, but he is grabbing their neck with his legs
That's
and
my
then
favorite
like
one.
you know twirls them around like a corkscrew.
Yeah, that's my favorite one. It's always fun to watch. Let's see if I can pull it off here. That's always fun to do too if you dodge near a wall.
Right, and you can actually jump off it. Like the game is great about incorporating those things where you can actually. It's not just something the game does on its own. It's environment specific, but you can be smart and manipulate the environment to sort of do those things and dodge bullets and stuff. Like it's definitely one of those games. Maybe not as much as God of War, but still very much where I'll be excited to see what people do on YouTube in terms of like really great combat montages and
Oh yeah.
just showing how slick you can be once you've mastered everything.
I also want to show off the photo mode. We can show that off, right?
Yeah.
I think we can show that off. The photo mode. Oh, little Easter egg there. I know those guys. The photo. Oh, there's another tower over here. Let me do that right now while I'm at it. But photo mode is so dope, and I usually like God of War. I kind of mess with it a little bit. Mario Odyssey actually I mess with it a lot too because I feel like there were some really cool opportunities to pull off a really cool move and get the right snapshot. But in this game, the photo mode is so dope. So let me show that off real quick. You have a lot of like freedom when it comes to what you can do. And you can even like, so there's different tabs here, and you can even adjust like the field of view, right? You can adjust the aperture, so if you want like a shallower depth of field, you can do that too. But like the cool thing is, and we've already seen this like online a bunch of times, but not only are there filters you can mess with, my favorite being
Super saturated,
I like
overexposed.
VHS, that's cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
And newsprint. And then also Pixel. I actually had the Game Boy Spider-Man game when I was a kid, and I got it taken away from me at school. So,
like for all time, like
for
you
all
never got it
time.
back.
No, it's actually like it's a sad story. Oh, look at that selfie mode. But yeah, the teacher who took it away was like, yeah, your parents can come get it, and I was like, never told my mom. I was like, nope, that's not happening. But it was also a Game Boy that I like inherited from a neighbor. But
I think I smell a story here. Oh man, I think a small little mini documentary. We go back and find him, see if he still got it.
You know what? That's not a bad idea. Like I've like low key resented that guy for like my whole life. There's one more tower. And then I think once you unlock all the towers, like another side mission unlocks that you can complete, which is kind of fun too.
Is there?
Yeah.
All right. Drawing a blank.
I did it on the other save that I have. I started this game up like 3 times just to play the intro and do some early game stuff.
Yeah, and it's great that there's a new game plus coming.
There is
with launch, so it's because this is one of those games where I would love to play it again. Like, it goes back to the core mechanics are just so they feel so good, they're so sound, so polished that you're just constantly looking for more reasons to hang in this world and do stuff, and so
totally.
It'll definitely be one of those ones where I want to go back through the earlier parts of the game, being able to do everything I am able to do at the end.
Oh, I was far there.
Don't suppose I can convince you to let me handle those guys.
I've never done that. I've never done one of those before.
Someone's asking about how big the day one patch is. I can't confirm, or I'm not completely sure, but I think it's in the 1 gigabyte range based on what I've downloaded.
Just doing one more of these just to show anybody who joined late. Boom.
Escalade ain't got anything in Spider-Man.
Nope.
Generic off-brand. Escalade.
Escalante. All right.
I love. So go look in some of the windows.
Oh yeah, dude. Look at that, like little.
Yeah. So like, there are little scenes in each of the apartment windows, and most of them are repeated. And they're just like, first of all, it's great because it obviously makes no sense that all these rooms are connected with doors. But it definitely is accurate in terms of how small apartments actually are in Manhattan.
Yeah, for sure. It also, it's so funny because it's very clearly like a flat. It's another optical illusion, right? And it's something you don't notice until you go up, like super up close to it. But when you're swinging around, the ability to just see inside the buildings is still something that, like, for me, blows my mind.
Yeah, it's perfect. Like if up close, if you examine it, you can pick it apart. But it's one of those added details that as you're swinging by buildings, you've got the reflections off the windows. You've got the rooms inside the windows.
Yeah.
It makes everything. It makes it feel like there's just a million different things going on in the city at any given time.
It's also cool too because like it's very detailed in the sense that like let's say I swing back over to Midtown, right? Like the office buildings will have like office shit in there, so there'll be like conference rooms and rooms with like computers and desks. And then if you're like in a residential area, it'll be like a kitchen or a bedroom, and like so it definitely reflects what kind of building it is, which I think is also a really nice touch. Super dope. Love that kind of stuff. Sometimes you really can't look into them, but the ones you can, it's a nice touch. Yeah, it just all blends together to be this really cool optical illusion that.
And I love Central Park in this game. I commute. I work in New York a couple days a week. Commute here. I've still never been to Central Park.
What?
I think the most of Central Park I've seen are from movies, including Elf. But I love. So this game is set in the fall. And obviously the trees are starting to turn, and it's one of like it's quickly become one of my favorite fall games in terms of I think it just really, especially when you've got it here at dusk and stuff, it really exudes like the feel of the city around that season, and sort of like the back to school, back to college feel that Spider-Man has in a lot of the comics and movies and stuff. And
yeah, that's true. Yeah, like the trees are all like orange and red and stuff, like the leaves are changing. It's really nice. Here's Columbus Circle, where it actually is in real life. And Fisk Tower's here, which is interesting.
Nice big gold letters.
Nice
doesn't remind me of anyone.
Yeah, it's not like this building over here, which in real life is belongs to someone else. But yeah, so we should definitely go to Central Park sometime. It's real pretty, especially in the fall. And I'm so glad to be slowly transitioning out of summer where it's like a little cooler. Oh yeah, so look, so here are like some of the office buildings, right? And you'll see like. They're like sad copiers and printers in there, and like it looks like an office building inside. It's just pretty cool. I love that. All right, what do you say? Let's do a couple more things and then.
Yeah, someone's asked, does Spider-Man walk if you tilt the stick?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, walk, jog, all that stuff.
He does this like really funny. Like I love doing it where like
it's such an awkward gait. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a slow ass like. It's like super slow. Oh wait, you can kind of pick up speed a little bit.
And when then he starts jogging and it's just like bumbling around.
You can also just like high five people. Well, that was kind of lame. Handshake. You got a chance.
Well, he
to
looked
meet
like a lame NPC, so.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you get a chance to meet Spider-Man and you want to shake his hand. Come on, man.
Thank you for your service.
Thanks, Spidey. It's also some fun stuff where like. NPCs will react to you according to like what you do in the game sometimes too. So they'll be like, "Hey man, like my cousin worked for Fisk."
Yeah, some of them love you, some of them hate you.
Yeah, that's true. Some of them work for Fisk.
It's not a huge element of this particular Spider-Man story. The sort of is he a menace or not, and the city, rallying around him or not. But it is one of those things that's played out of it's people are unsure of Spider-Man.
Does chat want to take a look at the suits? Because we can show those off. What do you think, Ethan?
Yeah, I think
we can show them off, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many you have unlocked, but
I don't have all of them unlocked, but we can at least look at them. And some of them are still sort of grayed out, so we can't really see all of them. So if you don't want the suit spoiled for you, I mean, sorry.
We'll definitely change. You definitely at least show them the new suit, the current
the new
Spider-Man
suit
for this game.
This is the new suit right here. Got like a huge white Spider-Man logo, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't love.
See, I'm surprised.
You like it?
I'm usually very traditionalist when it comes to the suit. I like the sort of large black webbing, like just solid. But I actually surprisingly like the white spider. I really like the suit. This is the one I played most in the game, and even after unlocking others, I just keep going back to it because for whatever reason, I'm like, no, this is the badass suit. I don't want anyone to see me. None of this other garbage.
See, my favorite one is actually the Stark suit.
Right. Yeah, and this is
Homecoming.
A lot of people's favorite. I know a lot of people on the Reddit and everyone else has been really excited about this one.
It's perfect.
I think it's ugly as
what?
I'll get out.
Oh, man, me and Ethan gonna fight later. This is the traditional classic one, and you can get it tattered if you want, a little damaged. You can see his chest a little bit. It got weird. Then it gets a little weird.
Yeah.
Some of them are kind of some of them a little lame. Yeah, 2099 is definitely in here. It's right there, which is wild. He's also like way more buff in this one.
Yeah, I think overall the first batch of suits is good, but a little underwhelming.
Turtleneck Spider-Man right here. If you want to rock a.
The Scarlet Spider is definitely my favorite of the main suits.
This is pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically your main suit, but just this one. If you want, yeah, this is your jam right here.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. My
This
favorite
is the Rebel Anarchist Spider-Man.
My favorite is one that like is kind of a spoiler, so I don't want to give it away. But maybe once the game is out, we can revisit it. But I mean, come on, man.
Rocker Spider-Man's the other cool one.
Get real shiny with it if you want. This one's scary as hell. Really looking forward to photo mode with this one. But let's what suit are we feeling like? This one, Scarlet Spider.
It's fine by me. I don't know if Chad has any suggestions or.
Oh yeah, and of course.
Yeah, the comic book.
The coolest. Let's actually do this one.
This
one is cool as hell. And let me and the suit power, as you can see here, is insult your enemy's pride. Yeah. So if you click in the thumbsticks, he says some real stupid shit. Sometimes it's really funny. And here are your gadgets.
Spider-Man's always saying stupid shit.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I have some points. Let me. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Look at this.
Yeah, so I think this is actually a suit that I think looks even better on the Pro.
Oh yeah.
Because all the colors pop a little more. But it is really cool because it's like very, not just traditional Spider-Man in the comic books, but also I feel like in the video games. When I think of video game Spider-Man, I often think of the cell-shaded ones. So.
It's also cool, like, so we put out a video. Oh, here we go. Perfect timing, right on cue. I was gonna say, like, I want to see it like in an action cutscene, and when you see it in action, it's freaking cool, man.
Just stupid. I'm gonna splatter you all over the windshield.
Oh, I messed that up.
Done.
I think I did that really quick. Damn.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's
That
great
was
too.
hard.
So one of like my Spider-Man, I don't know what you would call it, like pet projects, or one of the things I've always loved with superheroes is like how looking at when they appear in different comics or different cartoons or different movies and sort of gauging the relative strengths of each of those incarnations. And like, is Spider-Man able to lift up a helicopter or a train and all that stuff? And so I think this one does a really great job of like showing you how much he struggles to stop a moving car. It doesn't necessarily make sense that the car is like still accelerating even though you've pulled out the driver, but
that's true.
It definitely I think is one of the ways that makes it gives a friction to the world. Where it feels like Spider-Man is overcoming resistance, whether that's like web slinging and other stuff. It just always feels like he's doing work, and it's not like he's some sort of godlike figure that can do whatever he wants.
It is really cool. Some people in the chat are pointing out that like this suit in particular, excuse me, looks really interesting because it definitely feels like some sort of cell-shaded alternate universe that he just like teleported into this one. Yeah, we can show it off in photo mode.
Yeah, it feels like there's a little bit of Mario in Donk City.
Yeah, yeah, this is definitely new Donk City now. And I can show off photo mode again for whoever is asking.
Yeah, the photo mode is just great. It's
So
definitely, I wished I'd had it for when I was reviewing the game because it's so fun to play around. I mean, so you can show them, you have your own, in addition to the PS4 image taking and the photo mode, Peter Parker has his own camera, which you can take in-game photos with.
Right, that's true. I forgot about that. I can show that off in a bit. Yes, we are playing on a PS4 Pro. We should probably like set the
Just make it, put it,
or something.
yeah.
Yeah. I know there's a way to auto respond to that question, but we'll figure it out next time.
Gotta set up the bots.
Set up the bots. But yeah, check this out. So as we shut off before, you can change it to orbit Spidey like this, which is kind of useful if you want to just do that real quick. I like to do free mode. There's also, of course, selfie mode. And the cool thing about selfie mode that I loved was you can change his like expression.
That's great.
How dope is that? It also looks so much cooler.
I'm so this is gonna be my Christmas card this year.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna send this to all my family.
Damn. You could change this. You could put a
hell is Ethan
selfie
doing?
light. I know, right? It's like every year. Like the game came out 5 years ago. Ethan, come on. Pretty cool stuff. So like we'll go back into orbit here for a bit. But on top of that, you can change the tilt here. It's pretty robust if you want to get real weird with your Dutch angles. You can do that to your heart's content. And then this tab, like we mentioned before, will show off the field of view. So if you want to get real, let me go back into free mode. So if you want to get really like poetic with your photos, you can like get in real close, flatten out the image a bit so it's not so wide looking. And then you can change the area in which it's focused, and the aperture in this case means...
You love the aperture.
I love the aperture.
Paul just geeking out right now.
Fun fact, I used to be a photographer. I mean, I still am as a hobby, but I used to get paid for it. And you can like, yeah, look at that, man. How cool is that? I mean, granted, you want to change the focus distance a bit more so those other buildings aren't in focus, but it just takes some finessing. But how cool is this? So dope. And then filter type, like we mentioned before. Oh, man, that looks actually kind of dope.
Yeah.
Hold on real quick. Let me just screenshot that for myself. You can change the actual the filter. Ooh, look at that color pop. Hope it's popping in the Twitch stream. Sci-fi green pop art, especially with this suit, man. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
This field of view though. This
there's gonna be so many great pictures. It's
oh my god, I can't wait. And then obviously we can keep running with that joke of I need some photos of Spider-Man.
I mean, because all these Sony first-party games have had great photo modes. God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh my god!
But the coolest thing about Spider-Man, obviously, is that he comes from pen and paper and comics, and so it'll be great to like have all these different comic book scenes.
If you look at the detail too on the suit, you can see like the little dots. It almost looks like it's like inked. It's so cool. French film, filmic color, fashion.
French film, my favorite.
French film is your favorite.
Classic.
Chef's kiss. It's
8.5 blows.
Ooh, Bleach. 8.5 blows.
I think that was a French movie, right?
Do you think the 300 blows?
Maybe.
8.5 is another movie.
Whichever one ends with the kid on the beach.
Yeah, it's 300.
Thanks.
Film school
Film
nerd,
nerd.
too. Film school nerd.
Film nerd, photo nerd,
Newsprint,
everything. Just schooling me all day long.
Look at that. Game Boy. I mean, come on. Look at that. Also, another
unfortunately,
cool
this game is not on Game Boy.
No.
So.
And if you do bring it to school, be careful because your teacher will take it away from you.
Yeah.
And you'll never live it down.
Oh, that's cool. There's like, I forgot there's all
frames.
those panel effects, like comic book panel effects.
Yeah, dude. Look at that. If you want that
those.
frame for whatever reason, if you want to thwip. You used some onomatopoeia in your review, right? You said
a little thwip.
Thwip. Meanwhile, I'm going to use this a lot. Oh, hold on. This looks good. Screenshot that real quick.
Yeah, it's office meme.
How cool is this? Oh, man, that's good.
It's impressive.
Sorry, I'm getting really, really carried away here. Stickers. Let's do above.
Sony really did need to release a sticker machine with this.
Oh, my God.
Call back to the Game Boy printer.
Oh, what? Kids, ask your parents about the Game Boy printer, photo printer, camera. Oh yeah, I actually want to show off the VHS joint. Look at that.
Some scan lines.
Some scan lines in there. Some tracking.
Spider-Man Videodrome.
With the right filter, that'll look. It makes his arms look a little weird, but whatever. But yeah, you can get real crazy with it. All right, let's do one more thing, and then maybe we should call it.
Yes, agreed.
What can we do? Maybe another Osborne mission, assuming it doesn't.
Probably, I would stay away from those.
Stay away from those. Okay. What was that? Let's get this backpack real quick. First off, we're by the garden.
Naval teams, this is Control. What's our
Actually,
status in Times Square?
right behind us.
Armored patrol on the move.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the person in the chat about the comic book creation mode. I mean, obviously you can play around with stuff and sort of combine all the photos on a computer and make your own, but I think it would definitely be cool. It'd be great for the memes at least.
Oh, you know what? Let me show this off real quick. So
I can't wait till someone recreates the Spider-Man meme using the photo mode.
Pointing at him, pointing at himself. Photoshop. I can actually do that. Like Ethan mentioned a second ago, Spidey also has a camera on him that you can aim and take
Daily
photos
Bugle.
with.
Always a great paper.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even more now that Jameson's retired.
Okay. And there are a bunch of like really cool Easter eggs. I'm actually putting together a cool Easter egg video for anyone who wants to check it out. It should be going live maybe tomorrow or maybe over the weekend. We're not entirely sure yet. We want to give people some time to discover them on their own, and there will be a spoiler warning on that, so we won't spoil anything. I'm kind of serious about this with the spoilers a little bit. I'll be honest.
I mean, my review is spoiler free. You know, it's one of those things that outside of the, it's very hard to discuss the story in this game without immediately getting into spoiler territory. So
yeah.
I'm really excited for, you know, a week or so after the game's out and people have had time to get that far and start breaking down everything that happens.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait to start having that discussion too. Okay, let's go uptown a bit because I still haven't really explored uptown. Go ahead, Ethan, sing. You got
my favorite Prince songs.
You got a bunch of. Oh, there you go. Shout out to Prince.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. to the god. Do you think Spider-Man uses an SLR or mirrorless? That's a good question. Since it's a Sony game, it's probably a mirrorless camera.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of their new Alpha Series offerings.
Yeah, I think I was reading that some reviews going out saying that mirrors are done.
Mirrors are done. Don't even look at mirrors. Just get a camera and hook it up to a monitor. Mirrors are done.
Any officers near Midtown North, please copy.
Oh, that's a good question. Is there a point in the story where it plays that does the main theme song, like the old retro theme song?
You know what? I don't know. I can't recall off the top of my head. I feel like if it is, it's like a
super hidden.
Yeah, or it's a diegetic. Like maybe there's like a boombox somebody has or something.
Oh yeah, diegetic. Nice film reference there.
But yeah, I don't know that there's. I can't recall off the top of my head that there's a moment where it does that callback, throwback.
Also, I like that you can see his shadow.
Yeah.
Like you can see a little tiny shadow sometimes. Yeah, let's do one more, like maybe like one more crime or something.
Yeah.
Let's stop one more crime and then we'll call it a day. And we'll have this archived right here on the Twitch and then also on our YouTube page. So if you want to check it out in its entirety, you can do that.
Yeah, so someone's asking if you can web sling through the park. So one of the things that, you know, obviously one of the jokes with Spider-Man is that he's always just webbing onto like nothing, you know, just right, you know, something in the corner of a frame right out of view. While the R2 does web to actual spots on buildings, and if you're not near a building, you won't be able to R2 onto anything. You do have what they call a zipline web using the X button. That is like a lateral web.
This guy.
Yeah, that Paul just is using now. That will let you. It'll give you a slight boost forward by him basically webbing something at eye level and pulling himself. And so you can use that to get through areas like parks and other stuff.
Yeah.
But you can also, you know, if you're like right near a tree, you can web onto the tree and he'll pull himself up as necessary to get the swing in.
Oh, look at that little homecoming / real life reference there, the Staten Island Ferry.
I don't know who would ever want to get on that. I don't know anything about Staten Island.
I mean,
just throwing shade.
You don't really need to know anything about it. Sorry to everybody watching from Staten Island, but you don't really need to know much about it.
Big Staten Island audience.
I was like, what is that fast boat? It's a helicopter. It's not a boat. All right, I'm not gonna do that crime. Let's do another.
Spider-Man is very choosy in this game about which crimes.
Yeah,
he's from New York, so he's a little bit posh, a little bit
yeah.
a little bit snobbish. So some crimes are just beneath him.
You don't want to do
Work, right?
every crime. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
some of them are a little played
Figured
out.
that
You just
maybe
want to
you
be
let,
Gotta leave something for the
someone
NYPD
celebrate with
to
us?
earn its keep.
exactly.
Fine, but make it quick.
The odds were long. The
Oh
danger
God.
close.
I'm
But
gonna be
between
honest. I'm not a
Spider
fan of
Cop's
this.
reckless
His
intuition
little Spider Cop.
and the Chief's determined planning,
No.
they got the job done.
Yeah, Spider-Man's a bit of a cop.
Yeah, for
That's kinda
sure.
sweet.
A pairing of opposites.
So there's definitely that's also another.
That's a
Talk
side
to you
mission.
later, Spider
It's impossible to talk
coming
about
around,
this game without
Right?
at some point
Yeah,
mentioning Arkham,
definitely.
as I've done a couple times during the stream. But that sort of relationship that Batman obviously has with Commissioner Gordon and the police in the Arkham games is sort of
Yeah.
carried through in this with Yuri Watanabe and Spider-Man.
Please mobilize on
Yeah, there's a
field
little,
file.
you know, it's kind of weird.
Looks like those inmates have hostages. Gotta be careful.
Gotta be careful. What if I just come in and beat everyone up?
It's Spider-Man!
Spider-Man!
Yeah, you definitely got those old timey. Oh, look at this guy. He's
You know what are you
fancy.
talking about? Everyone in New York talks like that.
Yeah, it's true. It's how I come into the office every morning. Hey,
Yo.
Ethan. How you doing?
You making content today?
I just time traveled from the 30s. From the 30s. Look at that squirrel. In real life, that would be a huge rat. Actually, there are rats in this game.
I haven't seen any.
You haven't seen a rat?
I've seen the pigeons, so I've seen the flying ones.
Oh,
but,
dude. Okay, so that's how we're closing out the stream today. We're on the hunt for a rat. You
All
definitely,
right, we might be here for another couple hours.
definitely gotta find a rat. No, this is New York. You'll find one. Find one in no time. We just gotta find one of these like non-existent alleyways. Nope, this is like a fancy. We're in the fancy part of town.
Yeah, what do they call fancy alleyways?
I don't know. Another great game for the Game Boy. I think Mario was in it too. Alleyway?
What are you talking about?
It's an old
Sorry,
game.
I
It's an
blanked
old
for a
game.
second.
Kids, ask your parents about Alleyway for Game Boy.
Wow, some deep cuts.
Some deep cuts today.
It is Game Boy's, what is it, 30th anniversary this year?
Man. Wow, I'm the same age as the Game Boy. Because your boy
God, game.
always game. Yes, got game. That's way better than I was going to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that's what you were
Your
setting me up
boys
for.
got
and I was
game.
like, I don't
Now you-
wanna-
yeah, that was an alley-oop right there. Appreciate that because you saved me. I was drawing a blank there myself. Okay, we're going to find an alleyway. We're going to find a rat. And we'll call it a day. This looks like a really grimy alley. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, here we go.
Here we go. Ready?
Stable control.
There's definitely a
Status
rat
update on
around here
Grammar
somewhere.
Observation post established. Situation normal.
Showing off the best parts of New York City for everybody on stream. Really? What if I just like punch the trash? You can't punch him this
No,
way. Yo, they're huge in this game. They're like small cats.
This is gonna be a really anticlimactic way to end the stream if we don't find one.
I know, man. I set us up for failure. We're gonna find a rat. Come on, alleys. Look at these like non-existent ass alleys.
There's a lot of space, a lot of unused space in New York.
yeah.
What if we just had nothing, just all here?
Yeah, there's no foot traffic or no.
Here we go.
Come on,
Stop
rats.
for all the cars driving through the
Yeah,
alleyway.
this is definitely want to keep it safe around here. It's really busy around here. Where the rats at? Look at all this trash.
Oh,
look,
there
it
we
is.
go. There we go.
Look at that. Look at that big ass rat.
He is a little
Can I web
little
it?
big guy. A little oxymoron there.
Oh wait.
Can you web the rats? No.
Oh, I webbed him though.
He did get web on him, and now he's gonna go in the sewers and just pollute everything.
Stable control.
He's not even like.
Requesting update from
These are
Bowery.
pretty accurate, pretty life-sized
555.
rats.
All suspicious persons.
They do not care how close they are to you. Sometimes they might even try to steal your pizza. So
Yeah, I was gonna say it would be great if there was a side mission where you have to give rats pizza.
I love doing that on the police towers. Like sometimes you swing to do it to one of the signal things, and the cops just like, ooh, and they all like freak out and fall. It's great. It's a fun time.
Falling NPCs, always a classic.
Always a good bit for me. Always gets me chuckling. All right, cool. That was a pretty good look at the game. We're obviously going to be talking about this game a lot more. I'd also recommend, if you haven't read Ethan's review yet on the site, definitely go do that. It's on Kotaku.com. If you don't already know, here's Washington Square Park, which actually is pretty realistic, actually.
Yeah.
Union Square is all the way off, though.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Does not look like Union Square, but they tried. So yeah, definitely go check out the review on the site, and we'll be covering, and check out the videos that we've been posting, and this will be on our YouTube and our Twitch archived, so you can check it out there. But thank you, Ethan, for joining me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you for finally having me on one of these streams.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do some more, hopefully. All right, peace, everybody.
Yep.